કર્મા કે પોથીલા ઘરમાં બી સરકે આયો કાગા હું કરમે ગતિલા હે ભગવાન કાગા હું કરમે ગતિલા नौ मन के तुर काया जर गए मिट्टी भय शरीरा गा यह तन के त घमंड जन कर बे मन होत है बहुत अधीरा गा कर्मा के पोथीला घर में बिसर के आयो कागा हूँ करा में गतिला खावत के मैं थारी दयो पीवत के मैं लोटा गा माया खोजत खोजत मोला है गए बड़ा धोखा गा कर्मा के पोथीला घर में बिसर के आयो कागा हूँ कर में गतिला. That was a karma song, the creation song of my ancient Gond community. Johar. Good afternoon, everyone. Where I come from, Sijhora, an Adivasi village in eastern Madhya Pradesh in central India. This is how we greet each other, Johar. Wearing clothes like you and speaking in a language that is a foreign to both you and me, I have come to long way in life. My journey has been like that of a pinwheel, what we call a firki in our village. It has been a story of constant change, a change that has driven me and change that I have often driven. People call me Venkat. My full name is a mouthful, Venkat Raman Singh Shyam. I was born into a Pradhan Gond family in the village Shijhora. A few kilometers from my home lies the Kanha forest where Rudyard Kipling set his jungle book. I now live in the state capital of Bhopal, and I claim inheritance also from the oldest rock art site in the parts of the world, Bhimbetka, which archaeologists trace back the upper Paleolithic and Mesolithic eras. This gallery of cave art, 25,000 years old, is housed in the dike along the oldest river in the subcontinent, Narmada.
Well, Johar to everyone. I am Anand, publisher of Navyana, a publishing house that focuses on issues of caste from an anti-caste perspective. At Navyana, which I co-founded in 2003 after quitting a job in Outlook magazine as a journalist, of which I got bored. Lots of people have told you how they get bored with their jobs, and so did I. I started this publishing house on a whim, and it was focused on issues of caste. I don't have time to tell you the story of Navyana because I want to focus this afternoon on Venkat's story, who is a pioneer and a change maker. What led Venkat to me and me to Venkat was a book I did in 2010 on Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who's the inspiration behind Navyana, and we called this Bhima. It was a graphic biography of Ambedkar done by two Pradhan Gond artists, Durgabai Vyam and Subhash Vyam, who both happen to be cousins of Venkat. It has been published in 10 languages worldwide, including in Korean, French, and Spanish. It has even been prescribed in Delhi University as part of the BA Honours course. After reading Bhimayana sometime in 2012, Venkat Raman Singh Shyam walked into the Navyana office in Delhi's Shapur Jat, along with his friend, the American art curator John Bowles. He told me, I quote, "You did a beautiful book on Ambedkar's life. Will you work with me and help me tell my life? Of course, I'm not famous like Ambedkar and my book may not sell much, but I do want to tell my story and that of my community. I will make the art and you make up the words. I will show, you tell," he told me.
Over 4 years, I worked with my friend S. Anand on telling the story of my life and my community, which has been published a few months ago in the form of a book called Finding My Way. This is the reason why Anand and I have been invited to give this talk in this book. And in my life in general, I have drawn an arc from my village, Sajhora and Bhimbetka, and claimed kinship with Gaudi and Dali, Europe, and with the Aboriginal artists of Australia, just as much as I owe the debt to masters like M.F. Hussain and S.H. Raja. They owe an unacknowledged intellectual and artistic debt to scores of lesser known Adivasi artists like me. In the mid 1980s and 1990s, Jangan Singh Shyam, my uncle, my father's younger brother, single handedly and single mindedly gave Pradhan Gond art its name and identity in the international world. Being invited to give a TEDx talk gives me both pleasure and pride, for I represent not just myself, but community that is otherwise mostly invisible in platform like this. Though I believe I belong to one of the oldest tribes of this land. My community, Gond, shares its name with this ancient Gondwana land. We may well have been the first people of India, but surely over millennia we must also have become a very mixed people. People ask me, where exactly do you come from? I don't look or sound Adivasi enough for them.
Adivasis are not just our first people, but they are also our first artists. For Venkat and for many Pradhan Gonds, all life and all art is about the coming together of the line and the dot. Some dots are places. When they joined, they can assume any shape, they can be given any color, they become lines and they turn into rivers. The Gond school he represents believes in conceptual art. Gond art seeks to astound and astonish if and when it seeks an audience. Till some decades ago, Gond art was merely drawn on the walls of homes for life cycle rituals and festivals like birth, death, marriage. It was not gallerified or owned or sold. It existed in and for itself. The Gonds and Venkat believe that the land owns us. The art we make owns us. We cannot own the land or art. In the land where Venkat comes from, scientists have found fossils of Rajasaurus narmadenis, which experts say was a theropod dinosaur that belonged to the time the Gondwana supercontinent broke up some 165 million years ago. The Gonds also believe in Laved, that which is not Ved, and there they speak of a time when the day lasted 6 months and the night as long. In the district Venkat belongs to, there is the Mandla Plant Fossils National Park, where the oldest petrified trees dating back to the Jurassic era can be found. This is where all Gond stories come from. This is where Venkat comes from.
I did not learn from school and books. I often skipped school and barely managed to matriculate. I fished in the river Halon that ran by my village. I stole corn cobs. I learned to plow. I heard the bana, the stringed instrument on which my ancestors sang our oral history, myths and legends, our karma songs. I also heard mendicant singers passing by our village sing the songs of Kabir during my childhood, as since I have had an abiding interest in Kabir and music. Before we Pradhan Gond came to be called artists in the urban modern sense of the word, we were the record keepers of our community. There has also been a age old traditions of making mural and paintings on the walls of our villages. This is called Digna and Chauka. This is still done in homes in villages. The patterns are mostly abstract. Till some 30 years ago, only natural dye, all extracted locally were used.
What you see there on the sides, that is known as the Digna pattern. These are things which people used to decorate their walls in the villages in many colors, and these were earlier just natural dyes. This is of course worked on paper by Venkat. And it was a mural by Jangat Singh Shyam on the walls of Patangad that attracted the urban painter J. Swaminathan. He invited Jangat to Bhopal in 1982 to make a professional career out of art. By then, the Bharat Bhavan had been established in Bhopal. Thus, the Gonds and other tribals like the Baigas and Bheels started working with paper and artificial colors only in the 1980s. Jangat represented a dramatic change. He represented Gond art the way the modern world came to perceive it. What you see now as Gond art is thus both contemporary and ancient. It is from now and from forever. Jungad won the highest state award for art, the Shikhar Samman, in 1986. In 1988, Venkat's father sent Venkat to Bhopal. Venkat was about 15 then. He sent him to Bhopal to learn and work with Uncle Jungad. Venkat became a disciple of Jungad's for 3 years. He then left for the metropolis of New Delhi. He initially worked here for a year at a senior police officer's house in Sarvapriya Vihar for a pittance of rupees 225 a month. He then quit the job and then became a painter of houses. Back then in Delhi, he was just starving. He did any job that came his way, and these people we would know, they're the ones who stand at the roads and are called dehadi laborers.
And one point, I began to ply a cycle rickshaw. The pinwheel respond to the call of the breeze. The rickshaw wheel respond to the strength of my feet. I pressed the earth down with my rickshaw, and the earth pressed me back. I held the earth with my rickshaw. The earth held me back. My rickshaw wheel moved against the giant earth wheel. The movement produced the roti, round like the wheel that I needed to survive on this earth. The rickshaw pits man against his own strength. I cannot say if the cycle rickshaw was a symbol of violence, whether it signified a loss of dignity or was a sign of servitude. The only revolution I saw back then was the turning of the rickshaw wheel around an axis. I became wheel, roti, earth. I survived to tell my circular tale. Once I became very sick in Delhi, contracted cerebral malaria, and I returned to my village to recover. I returned to Bhopal again and worked as a signboard and hoarding artist. I climbed scaffold and painted hoardings of 30 by 60 feet size. I learned a lot about brushes and technique during this period. My art today reflects a confluence, a sangam of many kinds of art I have seen. Though I retain an aesthetic and stylistic sensibility that may be seen as distinctly Pradhan Gond.
Meanwhile, Venkat did what everyone in the world does. He fell in love with a woman called Saroj, he eloped, he got married, and had children. Saroj is now an artist in her own right. In 2001, the disastrous news of his guru and mentor, Uncle Jungad, suicide in faraway Japan shocked not just the Pradhan Gond artistic community, but the entire world of arts and letters in India. But Jungad's death, sadly, also brought renewed interest in the Pradhan Gond art form. Publishers wanted these artists to illustrate children's books. Adivasi artists were sent to festivals of India abroad. They provided exotic value. Thanks to the curator Rajiv Sethi, Venkat managed to lead 4 other artists like himself to Barcelona in 2004 to participate in Forum, an international arts and culture festival. This is also where Venkat first saw the work of Gaudi and Dali for the first time, and he felt a kinship with them. Venkat has now exhibited in many parts of the world, including at the Sakahan Festival in Canada in 2013, several times in the US, and at the Asia Pacific Triennial recently in Queensland, Australia. He was commissioned by the Fulbright House in Delhi, managed by the US Consulate, to make murals. And when I tell you all this, this man 15 years ago was forced to drive a cycle rickshaw right here in Delhi for a living. And then his journey is far, far bigger for me than my own or probably anybody else's in this room. Yet, even today, the arts establishment in India refuses to recognize most tribal artists, including somebody as accomplished as Venkat, as contemporary artists. As soon as they see this kind of art, they say this is tribal art. You have to put it in Dilli Haat, you have to put it in Surajkund Arts Mela, Crafts Museum or Crafts Council of India. All high-end private galleries, even if they offer a chance, they'll say group show karte hai. We'll make a group show of you. As if an Adivasi artist still lacks individuality. After the publication of this book in May, Finding My Way, which led to even this TEDx talk, a feature in Economic Times quoted the National Gallery of Modern Art's director, Rajiv Lochan, as saying, a quote, The NGMA is for modern and contemporary art. There is the Crafts Museum to cater to Adivasi and tribal art. If it needs to be changed, that decision has to be taken by the Ministry of Culture. Venkat questions this unfair hierarchy throughout his life and especially in his book, and now he has become more vocal. In the same Economic Times article, Venkat says,
I am a Gond, I am a Gond and my work has element of Gond art. Otherwise, I would be rootless. But my work is contemporary art. I am painting here and now about the here and now. Why doesn't the National Gallery of Modern Art have space for Adivasi artists? Why should my work be shunted in Craft Museum in Delhi heart? My work is not craft, it is art. We would like to end with my famous doha of Kabir that perhaps best reflects the knowledge tradition that I represent. पोथी पढ़ पढ़ जग मुआ पंडित भया न कोय ढाई आखर प्रेम का पढ़े सो पंडित होए.
I mean, for those of you who don't get the Hindi of it, of Kabir, the 16th century poet, the rut of reading won't make you a pandit. If you can't spell love, you just won't get it.
I'm still trying to find a way to help the world spell love. Thank you and Johar.
Thank you.